Imagine a world where everything you do is monitored and reviewed. The places you go, the things you buy, the people you associate with, all tracked and recorded. Every action, from purchasing a bottle of water to crossing the road, is observed and evaluated. Your social media posts, your interactions, your daily habits, all of it feeds into a system that rates you as a citizen and determines your trustworthiness. This score dictates the quality of your life. A high score grants you privileges, favorable interest rates, access to the best schools for your children, the ability to travel freely. A low score, however, brings severe restrictions. You cannot board trains or planes, your travel is limited, and your opportunities diminish. This system is known as the social credit score. A social credit score system is a government-run program that monitors and evaluates the behavior and reputation of individuals, businesses, and organizations within a society. It collects data from numerous sources to create a comprehensive profile of each entity, assigning scores based on behavior and compliance with societal norms and laws. Positive actions, such as community service or charitable donations, increase your score, while negative actions, like traffic violations or social media criticism of the government, decrease it. The resulting score determines your access to various privileges and opportunities, creating a society where your freedom is directly tied to your behavior. This concept might sound like a dystopian nightmare, similar to an episode from the TV series Black Mirror. Specifically, the episode Nosedive explores a world eerily similar to this. In Nosedive, the protagonist lives in a society where people rate each other on a 5-star scale for every interaction they have. These ratings determine their social standing and access to services. As the protagonist's rating plummets, she finds herself increasingly isolated and restricted, illustrating the dangers of a society governed by such a system. The parallels between Nosedive and the social credit score system are striking and unsettling. The social credit score system is not a fictional construct. It is a reality being implemented in our world today. The most well-known example is China's social credit system. Introduced in 2014, it aims to build a culture of trust by encouraging good behavior and punishing misconduct. The system tracks citizens' activities through a vast network of surveillance cameras, online monitoring, and data analysis. Actions like jaywalking, defaulting on loans, or criticizing the government online can lower one's score, leading to penalties such as travel bans, reduced access to social services, and public shaming. Take a look at this report of the social credit system in China, made by the news television network France 24.
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now, the Chinese are also ranked, given a mark out of a possible 950 points. A score in the 700s is considered good. Around the 500 mark is not. For now, the number is a sort of bank credit rating, keeping track of everyone's spending habits.
Consider the implications of living under such a system. Every choice, every action scrutinized and recorded. Privacy becomes a relic of the past. The freedom to express oneself, to dissent, to live authentically, all compromised. In this controlled environment, fear governs behavior. People conform not out of genuine belief or moral conviction, but out of fear of repercussions.
The state will go over every detail of a person's life with a fine-tooth comb. Their financial situation, spending habits, career, even behavior on social media. Criticizing the government online or displaying outward signs of wealth is a no-no. On the other hand, praising the party or giving blood increases your social credit.
As we delve deeper into this topic, we must ask ourselves, could this be the infrastructure of the mark of the beast? Could this be the very system the Antichrist will use? Could the very infrastructure of the mark of the beast be in our world today? In the book of Revelation, the mark of the beast is described as a sign that individuals must bear to buy or sell, a mark that signifies allegiance to the beast. Revelation 13, verse 16 and 17 states, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
A good score brings benefits, but people with low scores lose rights. The cinema names and shames people considered untrustworthy, plastering their details, even their addresses, across big screens. The Supreme Court has created a blacklist for so-called bad citizens, those whose ratings have dropped to 0. On it are companies, but also 23 million people to date.
Imagine a world where disagreeing with the government, practicing your faith, or even associating with the wrong people could result in social and economic ostracization. The implications for religious freedom, personal liberty, and human free will are profound and deeply troubling. The social credit score system, with its ability to control access to economic and social resources, bears a chilling resemblance to this biblical prophecy. Imagine a future where you cannot engage in commerce, travel, or even access basic services without a high social credit score. The parallels are too significant to ignore. The infrastructure of the social credit system, with its pervasive surveillance and control mechanisms, could very well be laying the groundwork for a system that exerts total control over individuals' lives, much like the mark of the beast. Could it be that the very infrastructure of the mark of the beast is already here on Earth, and the mark itself is much closer than most people realize? Could it be that the Antichrist is already among us, waiting for the appointed time to take global dominance? Could it be that the unfolding of the book of Revelation is about to occur, and the vast majority of the world is not prepared? Could it be that the world is on the edge of witnessing the arrival of the 144,000 sealed servants of God mentioned in the book of Revelation? Could it be that these events signify the beginning of divine judgments and the ultimate showdown between good and evil? Could it be that the world is about to witness the arrival of Apollyon the Destroyer, the angel of the bottomless pit whose purpose is to unleash chaos upon the earth? Could it be that the opening of the 7 seals by the Lamb is imminent, each unleashing a series of catastrophic events, wars, famines, and plagues that are depicted in vivid detail within the scriptures? Could it be that the sounding of the 7 trumpets, which herald even more severe judgments from the heavens, is about to resonate across the globe? Could it be that the rise of the 2 witnesses, who will prophesy and perform miracles for 1,260 days, is near? And that their eventual death and resurrection will be witnessed by the entire world through modern technology? Could it be that the appearance of the beast from the sea, granted authority by the dragon, is on the horizon, ready to demand worship and persecute those who resist? Could it be that soon the 3 angels mentioned in Revelation will fly across the heavens, proclaiming the eternal gospel to all inhabitants of the earth, warning of judgment and calling for worship of the Creator in preparation for the end times? Could it be that these messages from the angels are a final merciful warning to humanity, urging repentance and righteousness before the great and terrible day of the Lord? Could it be that the battle of Armageddon, the showdown between forces of good and evil, is drawing near, where the kings of the earth will gather to wage war against the divine authority of Christ? Could it be that the second coming of Jesus Christ is imminent, the event that we are all waiting for? Could it be that the Antichrist is indeed among us, subtly weaving into the fabric of society, waiting for the prophesied time to assert dominance? The similarities between a social credit score system and the mark of the beast described in Revelation chapter 13 are striking and cannot be overlooked. While a social credit system may not directly constitute the mark of the beast, it's clear that technology will play a significant role in the events depicted in Revelation 13.
We are living in an age of technological advancement like no other. The world we live in today is vastly different from the world 50 years ago. 5 decades ago, smartphones did not exist. The general public did not own a computer. There was no internet shopping, Neither was there any social media. Is it undeniable that technology is becoming more and more a part of our everyday life? This has led to many theorists to come to the conclusion that with technology being so embedded in every part of our society, technology must be a part of the mark of the beast. Theorists argue that for Revelation 13 to come into fruition, the beast must be able to monitor individuals at a global scale, and the only way to do so is through technology. Revelation 13, 16 through to 18. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Theorists argue that technology will enable Revelation 13 to come into fruition in two ways. They believe that the mark of the beast itself will be a piece of technology, and that will be placed on the forehead or their right hand. They believe in order to enforce that all of humanity receive that mark, technology will be used to track and isolate those who do not have the mark. Now, we are going to look at these 2 points and see why some believe that the emergence of the mark of the beast technology has arrived. Firstly, it is important to note that we do not know yet exactly what the mark of the beast is and what the number 666 represents. For example, the recent breakthroughs in medical implant chip and RFID technologies have increased interest in the mark of the beast spoken of in Revelation chapter 13. Radio frequency identity, RFID, chips are tiny computer chips connected to miniature antennas that can be placed on or in physical objects. They are used in a wide variety of applications where contactless authentication is desired, including toll booths, transit passes, passports, and contactless entry keys. How exactly they work? A practical example is that imagine going to the grocery store, filling up your cart, and walking right out the door. No longer will you have to wait as someone rings up each item in your cart one at a time. Instead, these RFID tags will communicate with an electronic reader that will detect every item in the cart and ring each item up almost instantly. Other examples of technological advancements that is potentially being linked to the mark is neurological links between the human mind and computers. This technology consists of small robotic devices being connected directly into the brain, allowing individuals to control computers with their mind. Although this technology is in its infancy, some look to this as the potential avenue of what is spoken of in Revelation 13. The advancement in technology is proving that a time will come when people will not display any form of minted cash. Our society is gearing towards a cashless economic system, and it's becoming more obvious than ever that we can make financial transactions without the use of raw cash. However, we know that the levels of advancement in technology that our world is experiencing is nothing but staircases leading us into such time when the mark will be the only medium of making legal financial transactions in the world. Well, people are entitled to hold their individual opinions on this matter. However, we can find the truth in this when we fall back to past records. In the past, huge amounts of money had to be moved from place to place in order to perform any financial transaction. With the advent of ATM machines, people moved from traveling with raw cash to traveling with their ATM cards. Currently, we are all aware that digital transactions are the order of the day. With your smartphone, you can link to your bank account and transfer funds on digital platforms in a matter of seconds. The inception of cashless payments was aimed at eliminating several business risks, such as theft of cash by employees, counterfeit money, robbery of cash, and the stress involved in cash movement, and the length of time required to count money and balance accounts. The Bible does not explicitly mention a cashless society. However, a lot of Bible scholars believe that a cashless society is a necessity for Revelation 13 to come into fruition. As long as people are using cash, transactions can be completed in private and cannot be monitored by the Antichrist. But If all currency becomes electronic, then every transaction can be monitored by the Antichrist. Be that as it may, a cashless society is not necessary to fulfill the conditions of Revelation 13. Nevertheless, it is very plausible that a cashless society could be one of the avenues to usher in the control of the Antichrist. The truth is, we don't expressly know, but what we do know is that the mark of the Antichrist is a declaration of worship. It is a permanent sign of allegiance to the Antichrist. Worship is at the central core of the battle between good and evil. Worship is at the core of it. The issues surrounding the mark of the Antichrist started long before you and I were created. It started long before Adam and Eve. Satan, at his very core, is a usurper. He wanted to usurp the worship God rightly deserves for himself. And the mark of the Antichrist is the point in human history where he will finally get his wish of being worshipped. Short-lived as it may be, he will be worshipped by the world with this mark. The issue of idolatry is something God does not play games with. God does not play games when it comes to his worship. Isaiah 42:8. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory I will not give to another, nor my praise to carved images. Idolatry is anything that takes the place of God in your life. Your job could be your idol. You yourself could be your idol. Your pastor can be your idol. What are you exalting in the place of God? The Antichrist will exalt himself as God. That is idolatry. People will worship him as God. That is idolatry. Anything that takes the place of God in a person's life is idolatry. And at the core, the mark of the Antichrist is not to do with buying or selling. It's not to do with control. It's not to do with anything outside of worship. Revelation 14:9 and 10 says, And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of its indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. Phones can record conversations even when the phones are turned off. This has led to more and more people to believe that the Antichrist will use technology to coerce his mark on the world. Although the Bible does not go into detail as to how the Antichrist will operate and take center stage of the world, we can see the tide moving towards his arrival. We can truly see his spirit preparing the heart of mankind for his arrival. Ultimately, in the heart of every person, there is a Christ sitting at the throne of everyone, either Jesus Christ or the Antichrist. There is no spiritual neutrality. There is no middle ground.